Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. This Julian Castro, mayor of San Antonio, being rolled out last night as the next Barack Obama. I listened to his speech, and it was fine. It wasn't soaring or anything of the sort. And it turns out that he got busted back in 2005 for having his twin brother, Joaquin, I think is his brother's name. Where's the name of his brother in this story? Yeah, Joaquin, who was a state representative. He's been mayor of San Antonio for years. He had a parade to go to, and he had another engagement, couldn't be two places at once, so he sent his brother there, who's his twin brother, to pretend to be him, and got busted for it. Story in the San Antonio or Houston Chronicle about all of that. Now, you know, another interesting thing with the DNC tonight, there is a speaker, Martin O'Malley. He's a guy that stepped in it by saying that we're not better off than we were 4 years ago. By the way, I was going through my stack of stuff, came across this chart about whether or not we are better off than we were 4 years ago. Well, let's compare November 2008 to now. Unemployment rate then 6.8%, 4 years later 8.3%. Total non-farm employment, 135 million then, 133 million now. 2 million people fewer have jobs, are working in America than they were 4 years ago. The federal debt as a share of our GDP back then, 69.7%. Today, 104.8%. We're now over $16 trillion in debt. Median household income is down from $55,000 to below $51,000. It's dropped by $4,000 under Barack Obama. The poverty rate is up to 15.1%. Food stamp recipients up from 30.9 million 4 years ago, 31 million people on food stamps. Today, that's at 47 million, 16 million more people on food stamps, up by another 50%. Home ownership rate is down from 67.8% down to 65.4%. But you will be encouraged to know that the federal civilian employee numbers are up. They're doing just fine. Thank you very much. 2.67 million people worked for the federal government in November of 2008. Today, that number is 2.75 million working for the federal government, hardly feeling the pain at all. Now, this Martin O'Malley, he was asked, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? And he said, no. He was honest, and he got taken to the Cory Booker woodshed, and now he's out there saying, oh, no, things are wonderful. Everybody's doing great. Everybody's doing much better. It's blue skies, Pollyanna, as far as the eye can see. Now, what they're doing at the DNC this week is trying to demonize Bain Capital. That's their target. They want to take out Bain Capital. It turns out that Martin O'Malley owes a chunk of his pension to Bain Capital. He's going to go up there and bash Bain Capital while he's living off of the money that Bain Capital made for the Maryland pension fund. He's getting $135,000, or will when he retires, from the Maryland State Retirement and Pension System, $75,000 for serving as governor, on top of the $60,000 he's already getting as a retired Baltimore City mayor. At least part of that money, according to the Weekly Standard, will have come from Bain Investments. Maryland State Retirement and Pension System has money in the Bain Capital Fund 9, the Bain Capital 9 Co-Investment Fund, the Bain Capital Fund 10, and the Bain Capital 10 Co-Investment Fund, according to the Retirement Fund's annual report. And this guy, by the way, has not released his tax returns either. Well, let's grab some sound bites from last night's speech. Cory Booker. This is clip 2. Now, Cory Booker was another guy that got in big trouble with the Obama folks because he said nice things about Bain. He says, oh, yeah, Bain's a great company. Bain's fine. And got hammered for his trouble, taken to the woodshed, and came out saying, no, Bain is terrible. Bain is the spawn of Satan. But he was the speaker last night talking about the platform. And it's striking as you listen to these guys cannot stop talking about the Democratic platform. Have you heard anybody in the Republican Party talk about their platform? All you hear John Boehner saying about the Republican Party platform, and that's because it deals with sanctity of life and sanctity of marriage, they don't want to touch it. They won't even talk about the platform. John Boehner says, nobody pays attention to those anyway. I never read those things. Nobody read those things. They're irrelevant. Forget about it. And the Democrats are out there. They are proud of their platform. Here is Cory Booker, mayor of Newark, New Jersey. Here's clip one talking about how proud he is of the Democratic National Party platform.
Our platform calls for significant cuts in federal spending. Our platform calls for a balanced deficit reduction plan where everyone, from elected officials to the wealthy and the super wealthy, pay their fair share. And please listen to this, because when your country is in a costly war with our soldiers sacrificing abroad, and our nation is facing a debt crisis at home, being asked to pay your fair share isn't class warfare. It's patriotism.
You know, I'm with Cory Booker on that. I absolutely agree. Being asked to pay your fair share is patriotism. I'm down with that. I actually believe that. I agree with Cory Booker. So the question then is what is your fair share? Now, here'd be my point, is that your fair share would be if you earn 22% of the national income, then you should pay 22% of income taxes. If you earn 37% of the nation's income, then you ought to pay 37% of the taxes. That's fair. That's equal. Am I right about that, or am I wrong? No, I'm right about that. And to me, that's patriotism. Unfortunately for Cory Booker and liberals, that is not what we have in America. We do not have fairness. We do not have equality. Sadly, some people are paying way more than their fair share. And that's if you listen to Cory Booker, people got to pay their fair share. Then Mayor Booker, let's fix this. We've got people that are paying way more than their fair share. That's not right. That's not fair. That's fundamentally unjust. What are you going to do about it? I'm looking at a piece here. You're familiar with some of these figures, a piece in American Thinker by W.A. Beatty. The top 1% of American wage earners have 22% share of the national income. So 22% of the national income is in the hands of the top 1%, but they pay 40% of all of the income taxes. Now, the top 5% of wage earners have a 37% share of the national income, but they pay 61% of the total tax burden. The top 10% in America earn 48% of the national income, but they pay 71% of the income tax that's paid to the federal government. So it's totally unjust. It's totally unfair. It's way upside down. I'm with Cory Booker. Something's got to be done. We've got to get fairness back in our tax code. It is the patriotic thing to do. So again, those figures, this will be our factoid for the day. Top 1% of wage earners in America pay 40% of all the income taxes. The top 5% pay 60% of all income taxes. The top 10% pay 70% of all income tax. So top 1% pay 40%, top 5% pay 60%, top 10% pay 70% of all income taxes. Now, the bottom 50% of wage earners in America, they earn 12% of the national income. Now, what would it mean for them to do their patriotic duty and pay their fair share? Well, they should be paying 12% of federal income taxes. They don't. They pay 3%. So they're paying way less than their fair share. So if you're to believe Cory Booker, then he'd be going after the bottom 50% hammer and tongs to get them to cough up their fair share. Well, let's listen to clip two. Cory Booker talking again about the platform that they're so proud of. Let's listen.
Our platform and our president make it clear that the most critical investment we can make in a 21st century knowledge-based economy is education. And so, our president has already done doubled Pell Grants, raised education standards, invested in research and development at our universities and early childhood education in our neighborhoods. This is because our platform and our president stated clearly, our nation cannot continue to be the world's #1 economy if we aren't committed to being the world's #1 educator.
Okay, that's all fine, but it's not working. According to a story in Politico, I've had this in the stack here for a little while. Confidence in public schools has dropped despite all the wonders that Cory Booker saying Barack Obama is doing for education. Confidence in public schools has dropped to the lowest point in 40 years. Only 29% of the American people said they had quite a great deal or quite a lot of confidence in the country's public school. That's half. That's down from 58% when Gallup first started asking that question in 1973. So 1973, Americans, 58% of them had a lot of confidence in the public school system. Today, that number is down to 29%. Wall Street Journal here, I'm looking at a piece by Andrew J. Coulson, and the title of his piece is that America has too many teachers. And he's talking about the fact that since 1970, the public school workforce has doubled from 6.4 million or to 6.4 million from 3.3 million. So 1970, you had 3.3 million in the public school workforce. Today, since 1970, it's now 6.4 million. And 2/3 of those new hires are teachers or teachers' aides, so they're working directly in the classroom. But over the same period of time, enrollment rose by 8.5%. So employment is double what it was in 1970, but enrollment's only up 8.5%. So employment has grown 11 times faster than enrollment. Now that would be fine if scores were up, but they're not. The long-term trends of 17-year-olds on the Federal National Assessment of Educational Process show stagnation in reading and math and a decline in science. So doubling staff, spending more money, doubling costs has done nothing to improve education. Back in 2.